Welcome back to Yalla Salesforce. We're going to continue our journey with Yalla Salesforce Trail Mix. We covered a lot of modules. All of them are recorded in Yalla Salesforce YouTube channel. Today, after we covered last session about the reporting, we're going to jump into the certification prep for Salesforce Certified Associate. So it's going to start with how we open or how we explore different certifications as we learned before together. So if I am in here, let's keep this one in here, and I will go for credentials, and we have the certifications. Our focus is on Salesforce Associate Certificate at the moment. So we will click Salesforce Associate, and then we're gonna navigate to the Salesforce Associate. It's gonna give you three important things. First is the exam guide and what is the structure for the exam, how many questions, the price, what are the different sections. So if we open the exam guide, you will find all of this great information in here. And it's a 40 questions, and it's 70 minutes, 62% in order to pass, 75 bucks for the first try, and the retake is for free. And in here, it shows you the different sections of the exam. What is the expectation for out of this exam? So we need to understand Salesforce ecosystem. We need to go through the navigation, data model, and reports. And in order for you to help, like, what are the details behind the Salesforce ecosystem, they put together this trail mix. So back to the in here where we started our journey, you will find this trail mix. With the trail mix, you will find every section that they are expecting you to master. Like ecosystem, you will find all the modules that you need to study in order to get prepared. So Salesforce ecosystem, for example, you need to know the values, you need to know a Trailhead, playground management, some agent force, Salesforce 101, and all of these great modules. One more thing to highlight in here. So keep in mind, I learned it personally, this the hard way, the percentage for each section. So one of the exams, I couldn't make it from the first time. And when I looked into my score, I found, for example, that I got in the reports and dashboards like 30% or 40%. However, I got in the Salesforce ecosystem 60%. So based on that, I thought I have to focus on this reports and dashboards because it's a very low percentage for me. I got only 30% of this section. However, since this is high weight, my math was wrong. I should be focusing on this part, not this part, despite the fact that this is higher percentage. So my advice, if for any reason you didn't make it from the very first time, make sure you jump to a website like Salesforce, the Focus on Force. So Focus on Force giving you this certificate score checker. I'll put it here in the chat. This score checker is very important because it translates the percentage you got in the exam with the weighting for the exam, do the math, and saying 32% means it's 13 questions. However, 15% is 6 questions. So if I got in here 40%, that means I didn't get 4. But if I got 55, and it's a higher number, but it's 6 questions. So if you are planning to retake that exam, focus on how many questions, not your percentage. So I learned this in a hard way, and I failed in the second trial because I focused on a section that I was already good enough to pass, but I missed the other part. But all about this weighting did this magic when I figured out which part I need to focus the most. Any questions in the exam and numbers and questions? All good? Love. Yep. Perfect. So let's get back to the last part was after the exam guide and the trail mix. They give you this like a cert prep, which is going through overall the exam, giving you extra modules in order to get more ready, give you some exam-like questions and preparations. So we will go through all of that just to refresh our minds with some concepts we learned together, and we'll take it from there. Right. So the exam is Salesforce ecosystem is the highest percentage in here. It's a 32%. So that means we need to master this the most. Salesforce ecosystem, understanding all the sections under it, and we will go one by one after. We covered this part of the exam guide. That's 40 questions, 62%. And maintain your certification. This is very important. Back in the days, in order to maintain your certificate, because you take it and then it was expiring in 2 years, and then you need to write another maintenance exam with certain questions in an exam setup in order to maintain it. But this is no longer the situation. The situation now, there are modules in Trailhead that you will need to do it after the release in order to keep up to date with the technology. So it's just a Trailhead module in order to keep all your certificates maintained. All right, so let's go through the quest for this one so we can start talking about the ecosystem. Which exam section of the exam is weighted the highest? So any votes on the chat? We just covered it. It is the Salesforce ecosystem. How many questions are on this exam? We have only 40 exam for this one. All right, so let's start with the fun. What is the Salesforce ecosystem and what are the expected topics part of it? So the key topics in here are Trailhead, Trailblazer Community, Agentforce, type of instance, and multi-tenant. So let's go through one by one. And it was the surprise in here because we thought Agentforce is a new technology and it may be not part of the associate exam, but I knew a couple people like went through the exam experience and they got like 3-4 questions around Agentforce. So you need to know at least the vocabulary. And if you are interested to know more, so one of the modules was the Agentforce key terminology module, and we covered it in like, it was 5 minutes module. We covered it in 1 hour. So you will find everything you are interested in to know for Agentforce for at least the associate exam. All right, so let's go through the questions to understand how the exam will look like, and let's dig more. A Salesforce associate want to find the latest release notes for Salesforce products. Where can Salesforce resources such as documentation, definitions, release notes be found? Trailhead Academy, Salesforce Help, and Trailblazer Community. So we covered the Trailhead Academy. You will find it under layer instructor-led training, and this is if you need to like master Salesforce administration in 5 days, or you need to know LWC within dedicated 5 days with instructor-led training, and you're gonna pay the cost and so on. This is what is Trailhead Academy or instructor-led. So this is not the way to know the documentation and definition and Salesforce resources. Salesforce Help at the right place, and we covered part of the Agentforce. If you went to help.salesforce.com now, you will find it supported now by Agentforce. So it will help you even navigate which question you are talking. We used to go through the knowledge articles and understand. Now you can ask Agentforce, and Agentforce is gonna summarize all the resources for you. So for this one, it's Salesforce Help. Trailblazer Community, we will be covering it, but it's group channels that put people that have the same passion together, admins and developers and financial service cloud people, and or a region community that we are all in Toronto or in Florida or in Georgia and so on. So this is the Trailblazer Community where we all share the same passion and give back to the community. So for this one, it's the Salesforce Hub. All right, next one. A company sells solar panels through a network of partners. The company wants to create a private website where they can publish helpful content on products and allow partners to collaborate. So part of, I believe, the Service Cloud session or the Salesforce 101 session, we covered the different clouds, and we mentioned the time that we need to do a private website, or we hear the word of self-serve, or we hear the word of partner community or customer community. All of these things gonna lead to the same product, which is the Experience Cloud. So Experience Cloud is an extension for the Salesforce when you need to make a portal available for your customers or your partners, and it is going to be another website as an extension for your Salesforce. And we can, part of the data security, we covered how you can share certain data into external and so on. If we want to just get a sneak peek of how can we share the data, it's just we covered, but let's do it very quickly in here. So in the sharing settings in here, part of the org-wide default, where we are saying that this object available for only the people that created, you will find another thing called default external access. So external access, since we are saying in here an external private website and we need to share the data outside Salesforce, so external access, this is what will allow those people on the private website to see your data. And you can enable all of these community and the Experience Cloud product to publish this website. If you are interested more, go to the Service Cloud session. We covered together and we enabled it very quickly and we built it a template and so on. But for associate, self-serve, private website, partner, customer community, it's the Experience Cloud. Commerce Cloud, it's all about e-commerce. So if you need to do e-commerce website and you need to sell and put product catalog and so on, it's all about Commerce Cloud. Marketing Cloud or Marketing Cloud account engagement. This is the Marketing Cloud. This is for B2B and Marketing Cloud for B2C. So it's all about marketing and journeys and campaigns and so on. Any questions? All good so far?
Perfect.
Thank you. All right, next one. A Salesforce associate, a Get Cloudy consulting, receive a request to make change to an existing field. How should they make this change to the existing field? All right. Part of the playground module and so on, we covered that we have those playgrounds, which if we went in here, said hands-on orgs, all of these are playgrounds, which will allow us to play with the org. If we need to take it to the next level, but this is fully integrated with Trailhead in order to validate and so on. Next level is developer, Salesforce org. It's giving you extra, you can sign up for a Salesforce developer and they're giving you a more developer edition org, which you can do anything without, with longer, with maximum 5 megabyte and so on. But both of those playground and Salesforce developer editions, or even a special orgs, like if you are interested in Financial Service Cloud and you went for the super badge for Financial Service Cloud and they have the package for financial, none of those are like an enterprise Salesforce org that you can work part of the real work. So when you provision your production org, we usually do not develop in a developer edition. We have something called Sandbox, part of the production org, which we take, like, either there are different types of those sandboxes. So if we went in here saying Salesforce Sandbox comparisons maybe, and you will find in here the sandbox types. You will find the developer, and you will find the partial sandbox, and you will find a full sandbox, and you will find the developer pro sandbox. What is the goal behind all of these sandbox? It's all about to follow the development life cycle. So when you need to do any change, we don't rush and go to the production environment and do the change which might impact the real user using your systems. We need to take it in a sandbox, do whatever we need to develop, and then when we are comfortable, we need to move it to the next level of the sandbox. Whenever we move in here, means it's more storage, and as well, it makes a difference on how many days we can like wait until we refresh it. So for the full sandbox, we wait like 30 days because it copy metadata and data. For this full sandbox, it's a replica from production, and we usually use it for an integration regression testing. Whenever before we go live, we get everything from everywhere, including the integration. Everything is enabled. It's like a replica from production. But if we are in early days of the development, we just do it in a developer, or we do it in a partial. So it's a storage difference. And the developer sandbox, for example, we can like refresh it every day. However, as we just mentioned, full sandbox is allowing us like to do it every 30 days. So you need to put this in mind while you are doing, and whether you need data and metadata or just the data. Accordingly, we are saying all of that to just cover this question, that we need to differentiate between doing the development in sandboxes versus whenever we are comfortable, we're gonna deploy this one or promote this metadata from a lower environment, which is a sandbox, into production. Any questions in sandbox versus production?
No.
Perfect. Right. So now we need to do a change to an existing field, make the changes in a sandbox, test it, and then we deploy it to production, and then do the final test in there before you say we have a new functionality, or make the changes in production and test, go straight. Especially it has a field. So sometimes we do things in production, like if I need to do a new report, so there is no risk on new report, comparing to no, I'm changing the field and there might be automations and so on that dependent on that field. We do not do such a change in production. It has to go through the sandbox, test, deploy. Last thing, make the change in a sandbox and then repeat it one more time in production. It's not time efficient and it doesn't make sense. There's a deployment steps. We have some declarative ways of doing the deployment, like change sets. You put the change set and then you upload it and then you take it from the other one and so on. Or if you have a proper continuous integration, continuous development, CI/CD, like either you are using your code repo, which like GitHub, or you are using Bitbucket and you have, or Copado, or any of the tools, or even test center and everything related to Salesforce as well, part of the DevOps center and so on. You can use all of these technologies in order to deploy, but do not do it multiple times across different environments for time efficiency and for consistency, because you might do 3 clicks in here, but do 5 clicks in there, so it will not be a replica. All right. Last question. A consultant is working on a Salesforce implementation and has a question about the proposed configuration. Which person should be recommended to answer the consultant question? All right. So this is getting us back into the career growth and the different career path and so on. And early sessions, we covered what are the different career path part of Salesforce, which Salesforce administrator, who is doing like user management, data management, defining objects and fields, and developers. And we covered one of those roles was like the solution architect, who had the big picture to recommend which solution is best fit for this specific problem statement. So in here saying Salesforce implementation has a question about the proposed configuration, which person should recommend. So the one who has a full picture of which solution need to be followed in here is the solution architect. Business analyst is the bridge between business and technology. Developer is the one hands on the keyboard doing either low code or pro code, using different automations and so on, building LWCs, but the solution architect is the one putting the solution together. So far, so good. Any questions? Perfect. All right. Exam topics flashcards. So multi-tenants. What multi-tenant means? We covered in the Salesforce fundamentals that we are tenants. We are not the owner of the entire instance. So it's like a big building and we are just renting an apartment or a room in there. So we are sharing the resources and we are sharing all the resources for this specific instance with other clients. So this is what multi-tenant means. And in order for Salesforce to protect your org and protect other customers, or since we are sharing resources, they are enforcing certain things. Like what? Like governor limits. Part of Salesforce ecosystem, you will hear a lot about governor limits. So you cannot do such and such within the same transactions. You cannot, best practice, do not put a DML inside a for loop, because this is gonna hit the database multiple times and this is gonna hit the governor limit. Be careful what you are doing about the CPU limits and so on. So all of these governance limits, Salesforce put together those governance limits in order to protect others, since we are sharing the same resources. This org cannot take all the CPU and impact other customers. Same thing for like you will hear, if you are a developer, you will hear about test classes and the code coverage and so on. All of these governance for this specific instance is to make sure it's safe to not impact others. So this is the impact of having this multi-tenant. If you want to know which instance you are in and so on, we covered that. We are in company information. You will be able to know which instance you are in. So go to your org, go to the company settings, under company information, you will find which instance you are in. What this instance is gonna help me. So if you went to another website we talked about, which is called trust.salesforce.com, this is part of the trust that Salesforce built to have a full transparency for every service they have. So for example, if they have an incident, they announce it in here, something wrong with the sales and service. And this is part of the trust that Salesforce, part of their core values. Accordingly, if I need to know what is the status for my instance in case any upgrades are happening, any downtime and so on, so you go to trust.salesforce.com and then you go to status. You put this instance, which we copied from the company information, and when you click search, it will tell you exactly that we are in a good health. You will find everything in here is green. You will find which release we are in. You will find which region we are in, and all the information about your instance. And you will find all the history. You will find all the maintenance, all the planned releases, and everything. So we just wanted to give you extra picture for what multi-tenant and what the instance means and so on. So it's a single application that serves multiple organizations. So far, so good. Any questions for the instance and org and all of these great stuff?
No, thank you.
You are very welcome. Thank you. All right, AppExchange. AppExchange is the marketplace. We agreed that sometime, and you will find a couple questions around AppExchange. Whenever you have a situation that you need to deliver, time to market is quick. You don't need to apply a lot of customizations and so on, and you need to plug and play. The golden answer always is AppExchange. AppExchange, where partners develop certain applications, including Salesforce. Salesforce has as well a lot of apps within AppExchange under Salesforce Lab. Some of them are free, some of them are paid, and so on. How can we reach to Salesforce AppExchange? One of the ways that you can open App Launcher, and you will find in here, visit AppExchange, and then you need to connect your org with the AppExchange, and then you can search for whatever application you are looking for, and you can install it. First, always remember, do not go straight to production. Put it in a sandbox, play with it, explore it, and then you, once you are comfortable, just move it to production. Salesforce Labs, this is what we were talking about. Those are different things that Salesforce developed for you in order to help you accelerate certain things. So if you are looking for TikTok for B2C commerce, you don't need to build this from scratch, just install it and start to play with it. And it's very helpful as well. There's like dashboards and reports for adoption, and for different things, you can just explore different apps. So AppExchange is cloud computing marketplace through which end users can access, download, and install software apps. Declarative, anything that you are using the mouse, point and click. So you don't need to write any codes. You need to add a new field. You need to add it to the page layout. You need to customize your lightning page. All of these great things are declarative, not a code or customization. So it's point and click customization. Trailhead Academy, we just covered Trailhead Academy, and it's an expert-led learning credentials. All right, any questions? Perfect. All right, so there is a module for AppExchange basics. If you need to install those apps, link it together, install, play with it, and so on. So this is a module for the AppExchange to cover it in more depth. And these are the different like modules that helped us to learn more about those flashcards. And finally, what is the Trailhead? We then cover this one together, Trailblazer Community Group, and this should be a very quick one. So let's go through it together. All right, in here, meet trailblazers like you. So Salesforce ecosystem is, we are all sharing the same passion about Salesforce. We have different levels of experience in different domains and different years of experience and so on. So we come together in a community to help each other. So this is all about the Trailblazer community. All right, so those are like 93% say participating community helps learn about new products. It's like exactly what we are doing in here. It's and when like Agentforce launched, there's a community group for Agentforce. So we are all sharing the same passion, sharing questions, getting answers. Some of Salesforce employees as well, part of those Salesforce Trailblazer communities, so they can answer the questions. You will find MVPs and the group leaders and all of these great things. What are the different types of those Trailblazer community groups? Some of them are public, anyone can join and see what's happening in there. Some of them are private, that means you request to access and then they approve your access in order to get in. Some of them are unlisted, that means you need to receive an invite in order to access the group. So those are the three different categories for those groups. There are 1,000 active groups covering a wide range of topics: customer success, Trailhead, release readiness, admin Trailblazer. So it's whatever you are looking for, you will find a lot of those groups. Product related, if you are interested, for example, in Data Cloud, you will find the Data Cloud related groups. If you are looking for local groups, I need to find the admin group in Toronto area, so I will find my local group. If you are a different career path, if I'm an admin developer and so on, you will find women in tech and so on. Some of them are in person, some of them are virtual, all of these great stuff. You can start your own community group and then either make it public, anyone can join, or you can make it private as well. And then you keep engaged with those community groups. You will be receiving an emails for anything happening within the group. And finally, there is a mobile app to keep like in touch with the group. All right, so part of Yalla Salesforce, we are learning and earning. So let's get those this badge and those points. How are community group different from local and virtual groups? Local and virtual groups have regular community-led meetings. Community groups can be led by Salesforce employees or community members. Community groups only meet in Salesforce towers. So the answer is A and B, because both of them are valid. Who leads local and virtual groups? Customers and partners, employees, Salesforce characters, Salesforce executives. So it's all about customers and partners. All right, we got this unit. Community conference at glance. So there are Salesforce conferences like Salesforce CDX, Salesforce Dreamforce, and there's some community as well conference like Tampa Dreamin', Toronto Dreamin', Cairo Dreamin', all of these Dreamin' community related conferences. They usually like 1 to 2 day conference, people sharing their passion as well, sharing their experience, and there will be a lot of fun activities and learning and earning and all of these great stuff. So community conference are solely organized and hosted by customer like you, from the venues to the content to the speakers and all of these great stuff. Plus, they, on the top of sharing the passion of Salesforce products and so on, they are as well giving back to the community, doing volunteering work and so on. All right, community conferences are hosted and organized by customers. That's correct. Community conferences are centered around what 3 things: learning, networking, and giving back, skiing, networking, and content sharing, new languages, meeting people around the world, public speaking and learning. So it's all about learning, networking, and giving back to the community. Perfect. So this was like a quick one while we are exploring the ecosystem. We did this together, the Trailblazer and Trailblazer community. Trailblazer community as well, it's the same content, so we can just scan it if there is anything we are missing in here. So the power of the community, same thing, and the different groups, we can collaborate, we can share, we can like the skills, join the group community. So nothing in here, it's all about just sharing the passion and giving back to the community. So what's the first step to get involved into Trailblazer community? Do you just need a Trailhead account? Do you talking to your Salesforce account executive, emailing Trailblazer community, going to Dreamforce? So all what it's gonna cost you is to just have a Trailhead account. As a member of Trailblazer community, you are able to learn about number of topics by networking within Salesforce ecosystem. The answer is sure. Woohoo! We are getting like couple modules, small ones, to make sure we are not leaving anything behind for the Salesforce ecosystem, since it's the most weighted part of the exam. It's 32%. Salesforce ecosystem, we covered it together, but a very high level. It consists from Salesforce themselves, its customers, its partners. So those are the the 3 main components for the Salesforce ecosystem. Salesforce keep innovating in the product itself. Customers, we are using it. Partners, who are either doing the professional services or developing apps in AppExchange. So if you are looking for a Salesforce job, you will find it in one of those 3 aspects of the Salesforce Trailblazer community. Salesforce platform basics. We covered this in very depth, and it was even surprise for us when we covered this, that because this is an entry point like to the Salesforce platform and to understand the basic, but it was AI heavy. So if you are interested to know more about data cloud and the agent force and how the platform evolved over time, so I will recommend you to go back to the Salesforce platform basic in the library, and you will find all the details you are looking for. But in here, we were covering the different apps. So as we know now that we have different apps in here in the app launcher, if you want to view all, you will find all the apps you have and all the items you need. You will find as well, if we opened in here any of those tabs, you will find in here objects, and you will find the compact layout in here, or highlight panel. You will find the different tabs, you will find fields and objects. So you need to get familiar with those terminologies: app versus object versus record versus field. Playground starter, if you need to install a package, and we learned about the package, and it come with its all components from the back end to the front end to LWCs and so on. And we usually install packages part of our playground and so on. Here, this tool called the flows, where you can automate things. And we covered in this module as well that it's not for a specific industry. It can be used across different industries, different problem statements, different business problems, and so on. And here, this is what we were highlighting, that the Salesforce architecture now is highlighting that data cloud is part of it, where we collect the data from different sources, put it together, and what is the model ecosystem, different large language models which support any generative AI related stuff. And then we have the Einstein trust layer, which protect your organization data when it goes to those external models, doing the masking and demasking and toxicity detection. And then we have low code AI builders, we have prompt builder, we have agent builders, and then we have the different apps. And on the top of that, Slack, which is the digital HQ, where you can interact with all of these things through Slack. Then we covered the trust, the cloud. So we talked about trust.salesforce.com. We talked as well about Einstein trust layer to protect your data. Finally, this is the part where we were talking about multi-tenant and multi-tenancy and the shared resources. Finally, we talked about the metadata, which is the data behind this data, in order for you to like put a field in an email template, for example. You need to reference the metadata. If you need to automate things around a field, again, you refer to the metadata for that field. So the metadata is not the data itself stored within the field, but it's the metadata or the field definition that's stored in the back end, which allow different Salesforce automations talk to each other. And last part of the Salesforce, I believe, collaboration, we covered the email templates. So just a sneak peek in here. You put in here the subject in here, and then you put all the body you need, and then you can add in here merge fields allowing you to go to the different metadata within your org. And let's say I am looking for first name, so I can say hi first name, so based on which account or a contact I am in, and so on. And if you want to store this as a template, you can go in there and save it as a new template. This will allow you to do an email template, which will accelerate sending and make those emails standardized. And the new way of, rather than even putting an email template and so on, you can utilize AI technology, use Agentforce in order to generate those and do the enrichment for the prompts and so on. All right, so this is just a high level of the platform basic. Any questions?
No.
Perfect. Then we covered the setup, and we have a quick module as well for the setup. We covered in here that if you are looking to like configure anything in Salesforce, you will go for the setup. You will find it in here. You will find as well the object manager, which will allow you to go for to create a custom objects, create custom fields, open the schema builder. So in here, if I need to create a new field, you will go in here. You know that there are different data types and so on. We covered in the data model. If you have an Excel sheet and you need to create a custom object from this spreadsheet, you can do it from here as well. So this is the setup. You can search setup as well in here. You can go to the home. You will find the most recent things you opened and so on. All right. What else? AppExchange, we covered AppExchange. All right, so let's go back to the Salesforce ecosystem. Playground management, I believe we covered the playground management, and there's not too much to refresh in here, but it's all about creating a playground for you to play with. And if you want to handle them or manage them, go to hands-on orgs, where you will be able to connect an org in here. You can create your own, you can rename it, you can disconnect it, and so on. All right, so this summarizes everything related to ecosystem from exam prep. If no questions, let's go for the quiz. Any questions?
Nope.
Lovely. All right, so we just covered that the ecosystem section makes 32% of this exam, and the Salesforce ecosystem section of the exam cover key topics, which is the navigation, Trailblazer Community, Schema Builder, and or relationships. So we talked a lot about community and the ecosystem. So I'm assuming this should be the answer. Perfect. So we covered the second unit. We will cover as much as possible from the navigation, and then we gonna continue our journey with the exam prep next time. All right. In here, we are focusing on global search, related lists, user settings, setup, and app launch. Salesforce Associate Exam is covering on a very tiny thing. So you need to make sure that you are like mastering the basics for the UI. So for example, it allow you to move the tabs. This is possible from the UI. It allow you to edit and personalize your own navigation items in here. So you need to know that this is like, even if the setup for this specific app to have a specific tab, so you can add your own and start playing in here. What else? You need to know that you can add records to favorite, you can add reports to favorite, and so on. The global search. So the global search, for example, if I'm looking for Burlington, and I just put Burlington in here and I click search. So this is the global search functionality, which will give you across different objects. But you have the option in here to extra filter as well, saying, no, I'm only interested in the accounts. How about it's bringing for you 10 accounts? You can refine again your search in here. How about I don't want to go there and start doing a refinement, and from the beginning, I know that I just need to search for accounts. You will find this small pick list in here, which will allow you to say, I just need the account. So even it will not bother you with all the accounts and contacts. So either to do it global search, you can search and then refine, you can refine and then search. All of these are options available for you while you are doing the global search. Next topic is the related list. What related list means? I'm in the account and I open this specific account and I have here related contacts, opportunities, cases, and all of these related lists. Where those related lists are coming from? It's coming from the page layout if you didn't do anything. So if you kept it standard, it's coming from page layout. There are two ways to get into your page layout. Either from here, open the setup. I am in the account. Go to the account, and then you will find the page layout, and then you need to open your page layout to see it. Or, to be honest, I don't do all of this big trip to get into the page layout. I personally go in here, setup, saying edit page. Edit page will open for you the app builder in here. And then from here, I can just click into the details. It will allow you to see which page layout you are in. Once you clicked, it's gonna open for you the page layout you are already in. So rather than going to the setup object manager, the object, and so on, you can, from the edit page, you can reach to which page layout. All right. You are talking about related lists. So when we were in the account in here, let me go back, we found certain related lists, contacts, opportunities, and so on. So if we went back in here into the related list, you will find contact, opportunity, and so on. You can add extra related lists. You can remove related list. You can customize which fields. You can customize the sort by. You can add the action buttons and all of these great stuff. Is that it? Is this the only way to play with the related list? The answer is no. So part of the Lightning experience, this was like the classic experience. Before, back in the days, we had Salesforce Classic, which you can reach from here, switch to Salesforce Classic, but we are in the Lightning experience. So Lightning experience is offering way more comparing to the classic experience. So I can go in here, say edit page, and you will find that this related is a big component. It's one component showing me all the related. That's why it's governed by the related list within the page layout. But how about I am interested only on the contacts that have certain filter criteria, and I need to have a related list for those specific contacts. How can I do that? Is the Lightning experience giving me another option? The answer is yes. So if you came in here and you write related list, you will find that related list, this is the one, it's a related list component, but there are other component called dynamic related list, single. So dynamic related list will ask you, all right, if you dragged this dynamic related list, which object you are looking for. So I can say, for example, I need the contents. And then it will ask you which fields you need to put it part of this related list. You can specify whatever fields, and then you can specify the sort. But the extra part in here, you can add as well filters. So with the traditional classic version of the related list, you can't add filters to your related list. In here, with the dynamic single related list, you can add filters. I just need the contacts which title is something, or whatever field you have and you are interested to filter, mailing city for certain country, and so on. So giving you an extra capabilities in here. As well, you can control the component visibility as well. Say, show me this related list if such and such happened, but do not show it in another thing. So you might have a profile or you have a custom permission that you need to control the visibility for it. So just keep in mind that the related list, the main, everyone is like goes to the related list within the page layout. But if you started to use components as well and use the app builder, you have other options as well to explore for the related list. User settings. User settings are in here. Leave. User settings are your settings, which allow you to put some information about you. You can as well check the login history. You can specify your language and time zone. So the org itself, we discussed it in the org-wide settings. There are some like language configuration for the entire org. There's time zone for the entire org, but you can have your own language and time zone. You can have your own currency. You can have your own email signature and so on. So you need to just make sure that you are updating your information in here. Can change your password. If, for example, we were in the email, we just explored sending an email. How about if I need to put a signature for myself while I am sending any email? I'll put here my email signature and so on. So there are a couple things to configure for yourself in here. Setup, we explored the setup and the app and the object manager and so on. And finally, the app launcher, which allowed me to navigate across different apps, view all, and see the different items available for me underneath. Any questions?
No.
Perfect. No. Perfect. A Salesforce associate frequently views multiple reports located in different folders. What is an efficient way to navigate? Add each report to the browser bookmark, add the report to personal homepage, or add the report to my favorites. So the answer is add it to my favorites. So let's explore this. I frequently visit this report, so you will find in here favorite. And once you do that, you will open it in here. You will find in here my favorite. So this is the handy way of adding a report to my favorite. A Salesforce associate wants to see graphical view of where all open cases are in the support process. All right, so cases. So let's go for cases. I'll go in here. Do we have cases? Yes. And if I can't find it in here for any reason, App Launcher always giving me the solution. I'll go for here, write cases. I want to see a graphical view, but this doesn't give me a graphical view. So within the list view, you have those three options: table, split view, which will allow you easily navigate across different things. But if you want to see a graphical view, it's all about Kanban. Kanban will ask you which field you want to use in order to categorize. So let's say by status. And when I do that, it will show me a graphical view for my cases, saying like, but for some reason it did the case origin, but I can see all of these cases coming from the phone. Those are coming from the web, and you can drag and drop things, moving it from place to another, and so on. It's a very useful as well in the opportunity, because you can see the different stages for the opportunity. So let me open in here in the Kanban, and you will find the different opportunity and even its sum up. And when I move things in here from a stage to another, it do the math. So you have a visual representation for that. So the answer for this one is always Kanban. In setup, where should a Salesforce manager go to check a team member login history? We talked about roles. So in the data security session, we talked about what you can do and what you can see, and we are aligned on the user settings. So within any user, we learned as well about this inspector reloaded. It's a very handy plugin to your in Chrome, which will help you to do a lot of things from user management to objects to write SOQL and so on. But if I'm in here in my user and I open my user, so this is my user details, you will find a lot of great details for the user. So let me open the user in here. This is the user details. So you will find all the user permissions, object permissions, field permissions, and another way to do it is to go from users and then click your users. You will go in there. So one of the main things that you need to know about the user creation, that you need a username, you need to have an email, and you need to have a license, and the license determine which profile you will have. The profile will allow you to do certain things and to not do certain things. So the profile is the what will allow you to access certain objects and so on. So it's what you can do, but it's not related to which data you can see, with certain exceptions. We covered this in very details in the profile and the permission sets and so on in the data security session, but just a high level. It will not give you the option to, it will show you the FLS and whether you can create, read, edit, and so on. So let me go in there. It was user settings. So because you will find me like lost in this profile picture, because in user settings, is it user settings? Yes, user management settings. You will find this toggle, which is very important, and every Salesforce instance always making it on, because if we, let me just open another tab within the profile. If you open any profile, you'll find a very long list of options, and you keep scrolling, and it will never end. It's not organized. That's why Salesforce did an enhanced view for this profile navigation. So within in here, you can toggle this enhanced profile user interface within the user management setting. And when you do that, you will find a different experience. So profiles. And if we navigate it to the same system admin, to just wrap up this point, or I can do just S in here, system administrator. You will find it's more structured. So if we are talking about object settings, for example, and I am talking about the account object, in here, I click the accounts, you will see what you can do. You can create, you can read, you can edit, you can do certain things for read or edit for every field, but this is not for the data sharing. The only exception for the profile for the data sharing is this checkbox, which is the view all and modify all. If you are interested in more details, we covered it in very depth in the user management and the data security, but view all records, this is the only thing within the profile level or the permission that allow you to access data. Otherwise, it's just read, create, edit, and delete. All right, so this is the profile. The roles is a tool for your manager should be able to see your data. And back to it, we covered it as well before, sharing settings. You can disable the role hierarchy if you check this one off, grant access using hierarchies. This will disable, if you unchecked it, it will disable the role hierarchy. Is that possible for standard and custom objects? The answer is no. This option is only available for custom object. So if you click the edit, you will find in here is disabled. But if you defined any custom object, you will be able to uncheck this box. Finally, the users, if we went to the users again to answer this specific question, and I said, I want to see when Bassem logged in. So within the setup users, you will be able to see all the login history for Bassem. So to answer this question, if I need to see the login history, nothing related to roles, nothing related to profile, this is what you can do, and this is what you can see. And if I want to do it, it's from the users. Associate want to limit their global search result to only account object. We just saw that it was from the very top in here. If I went to the account and just put in here within the search, put the account. So utilize the filter on the global search, navigate to account object and update settings. No, update the search. No. All right. So it's just. All right. We will wrap it up for today, and we're gonna continue our journey next week to finalize all the cert prep. Any questions? All good?
All good. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome. I'm gonna stop the recording. If you have any offline questions,